Rabbi Levitansky. Probably one of the very few people that I can actually call rabbi.
All the times that when my husband and I would go to Chabad house, they didn't care whether we were religious, not religious. They didn't judge us. They didn't make any kind of anything. Just welcome, come, be a part. And it was just lovely. Also, we used to, it was no fear that you could have a simcha and drink a little bit and have a l'chaim, and the joy. It's always filled with joy and non-judgmentalness. And that was very powerful for us.
When I was about 11 years old, it came time to have a bar mitzvah. And so my mom sought out the different sources and resources to enable me to get a bar mitzvah. So she called up this synagogue, she called up that synagogue, she called up this conservative one, this reform one, and even some of the Orthodox synagogues. And every one of them said, oh, you got to become a member, you got to pay membership dues, you got to have a seat, you got to come for the holidays, you got to. We didn't have any of the resources to become members of the synagogue, become members of a community. We didn't have any background to become a member of a community, a conservative or reformed community. So my mom eventually was able to get in touch with Chabad. Of course, Chabad meant the rabbi. And the rabbi talked to her and said, what? What are you talking about? Money shmoney. He says, we're going to have a bar mitzvah for your son. You don't have to worry about it. But I can't get him to you. I'm going to come to you. So where do you live? So my mom said, well, we live in a place called Chatsworth. Chatsworth, he says. Where is Chatsworth? Well, if you go this way, you go that way. He couldn't believe it. He says, out in the valley on the far west end. He says, I've never been there. I don't even think there's any roads that go out there. That very next week, knock on the door, and the rabbi was there. And he was there week after week after week. And you think that after all those weeks, that I would know the Parsha, and I would know the Haftorah, and I would know everything they know about what I had to do. Well, you're wrong. What I did know, though, and what I did learn from the rabbi was how to be a mensch. I learned how to bring Yiddishkeit into my life. I learned how to respect people. I learned how to do the best I can with whatever I could do. I also learned a lot of math, because the rabbi was really good with math, actually. And that was one of my weaknesses. So the rabbi taught me math. And then once in a while, when I was actually in the mood, and the rabbi always knew when I was in the mood, we'd go over the brachas for the Haftorah. We'd go over the brachas for the be called up to the Torah, and we would learn some of the pasakim of my actual parsha. So the bar mitzvah came around, and I get called up to the Torah, and I said the brachas, and the rabbi was like right there next to me, helping me along. And then it came time to read. And for word by word, if I didn't know it, the rabbi would do a whisper underneath his breath and give me a little hint, and I would go through the whole parsha. And then the Haftorah. It was an amazing experience, an experience that I'll never ever forget, especially with all the new cocktail drinks afterwards. Yeah, it was a wonderful time.
In 1989, or I think it was 1989, my husband and I had just gotten married, and we were invited by Rabbi Levitansky to stay at the Chabad house to spend Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So I remember we were, it was after the prayers on Rosh Hashanah. Rabbi Levitansky asked who can blow the shofar at the convalescent hospitals in the area, who will come and blow the shofar. My husband raised his hand, and he said he could blow the shofar, and I went with him, with a group of children dressed up in their Shabbos or their holiday Yontif finery, and older people and all kinds of people started following, line to the convalescent hospitals around the area. And I remember Rabbi Levitansky, his spirit, just and his energy and his love, just permeating everything. And it was that day that changed my life completely, because I saw how committed people can be to doing something beyond themselves. And I was going to be a lawyer, and I decided to give my life to working with seniors as a result of that. So we went and I was able to go to all the different rooms and talk, and I saw how Chabad House or Chabad people prayed and smiled and didn't care who it was or whether they were religious, not religious, all the Jewish people, and it could have been anyone, and just the givingness and the nature of that experience really changed our life. I realized that that was my true calling, because when I went to the convalescent hospitals, it just opened my eyes to how deeply you can be religious, and you can take your Judaism and show compassion to people in that way. It was something that opened my heart. I would have never experienced it that way. It wasn't what I saw from them. Because most people say and they talk about altruism, but this was it being practiced in a very deep way.
I went to Israel. I met my Eshet Chayil. We got married in Europe. We came back to the United States. Another dream of mine opened up, and that was to work in law enforcement. And the rabbi also was there supporting me in that endeavor also, as well. And we got married in a not so religious environment in the United States. Thank God, Baruch Hashem, my wife got pregnant with our first baby to come along. And the rabbi said to me, Yehuda, he says, you're not having that baby until I marry you. And you're not married until I marry you. So we're going to have a wedding. I said, but Rabbi, he says, no buts. He says, we're going to have a wedding. I said, okay. He gets one phone on this ear. He gets one phone on that ear. He's making phone calls. We're having a wedding. We're having a wedding. You bring the chicken. You bring the salad. You bring the challah. We're having a wedding. Okay. I think we had over 100 people at this wedding that the rabbi put on at Simcha Monaco. Amazing. I mean, it was the finest, most spectacular wedding I've ever had. And I had 2 weddings before. One in Europe, one by a conservative rabbi, and really, the only one that really counts was the one that the rabbi gave me and my lovely wife. As we had our first child, we said to ourselves, how do we want to raise this child? What do we want to do? And of course, we consulted the rabbi. And the rabbi said, go slowly. Do a little bit of this. Do a little bit of that. We bought the kosher cheese. We got the kosher meat. We eventually stopped mixing them together. We even got separate dishes. Until it all happened where we were actually frum Jews. The baby came. He says, what about the Brit Milah? He says, I got just the person for you. Nachman Kreiman. One of the most beautiful human beings I've ever known. Nachman did the Brit. The rabbi was there. The Sandech, if I'm not mistaken, on the first baby.
It was a constant party. It was a constant party. No matter what was going on, it was always a party over there at the Chabad House. But yet, even though with the party, it's like there's Mary Poppins, a spoonful of sugar makes a medicine. But the medicine is good for you. And the medicine is the religiosity and the beauty of the celebration and the laws and all the different things. But it can be done with joy. It can be done with gastronomical Judaism even. Because everything tasted so good when you went there. You ate. You had a special extra geschmack when you went there.
And one day we said, let's get some of these dishes toiveled that needed to be toiveled other than what we had already. So we'll go to Simcha Monica. So we go down to Simcha Monica and say, Rabbi, we'd like to get these things toiveled. And the rabbi said, okay, yeah, just leave them here. 1 week goes by. 2 weeks go by. A month goes by. No pots and pans. I said, Rabbi, where's our pots and pans? Oh, I'm going to find them. He said, don't worry about it. We never got the pots and pans. But we did find them. Because one Purim day we came, and there they were, clinking and banging and all the kids had our pots and pans and with the big giant spoons and hanging them and banging them and making the biggest noise for Purim. And then we understood. Those pots and pans were meant for the celebration of Purim.
Just sometimes it takes one person, and just one person with a loving heart, to change someone's life. And they have that ability. Rabbi Levitansky certainly had that ability to do that, just by the way he was, with his children, with his family, with everybody. When you see that children are infused with the same spirit that the parents are, you know that they did a good job.